And we're off. Well, welcome to the Bloom and Shine Live Summit. Well, today I get the privilege of introducing our host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. So, a little bit about Rebecca. Rebecca is a global influencer, #1 international best-selling author. She has built multiple platforms, including TV, radio, magazines, the speaker talent search, and live events, creating a powerful promotional reach of over 10 million. Rebecca is the CEO of RHG Productions, Media Productions, that has helped over 200 authors become bestsellers. Rebecca has personally contributed to 20 books, published books, multiple magazines, and has been quoted in major media, Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS, The Huffington Post, and Thrive Global. She has been recognized as one of the top 10 women in America by AWWIN Incorporated, and now helps get experts get quoted in major media too. So today, she wants you to have impact. She wants you to be heard. She wants you to be seen. And she wants you to shine. It is my great honor and privilege to introduce Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Thank you. Yay. Thank you, Maureen. I'm so excited to be here. I thank you for that wonderful introduction. Just an honor and a privilege. And I know we're going to get to talk with you a little bit later today in the summit as you share a little bit of your journey. So thank you again for the beautiful introduction. And I'm excited to welcome everyone to the summit. It's just great to have you all here today. Thrilled to be joining you live, which is exciting. So those of you who are joining in, you're going to have an opportunity throughout the summit to ask questions, to share your thoughts, your ideas. So make sure you listen for those opportunities because we'd love for you to be part of the experience as it's live. So we will have those pauses built in. We are just thrilled and honored to have you joining us today as we talk about bloom and shine. And I think it's such a timely subject that we take time, no matter what is happening, that we get to choose to bloom and shine. And I find that that means we have to remember to pause, to choose our response, not just be reactionary. Choose what we're mindfully, purposely echoing out, what we are adding to the conversation, what we are bringing to the world. And I believe part of us being able to do that is allowing ourselves to be poured into. So one, I celebrate you being here. This is a beautiful opportunity for you to be still, to receive, to be poured into by amazing experts that are gathering from different parts of the world to come together in this moment and time to pour into you and to support you. Two, I encourage you to build practices in your life to support you. Build that stop, pause, breathe before responding. Choose your response. Build some daily practices that pour into you. The book project that we all came together on is called Bloom and Shine, and I'm going to show you the cover here so that you can see it. Bloom and Shine. And this is a 365 daily inspiration book because we wanted to create something that gave people an opportunity to be poured into every single day. So just in a short little piece, they're given the opportunity to bloom and shine and be poured into. So we're very proud of this project. I'm very excited to have many of the authors joining us to share their insights, their wisdom of how to bloom and shine. They're going to be sharing some of their inspirations and what it's like to be part of a project like this, why they said yes, and what they're hoping readers get out of this project. Any of the things that we're talking about today, the book, and there is a companion journal For those of you who want to stop, pause, and capture your thoughts as well, we have a companion journal where it supports you in capturing those thoughts real time and actually starting to bring them into reality. That's some of the power of writing when you take that moment and you take that opportunity. So both the book and the journal, Bloom and Shine, are on Amazon.com, and you can get your copies. So any of you who, as we're talking in Sherry, that don't have a copy yet and want to add that to your library, I want you to know how to do that. So you can find them on Amazon.com. And want you to lean into those resources that are going to be of support to you. And I want you to get the most out of our time together today. So let's take a breath. Let's pause and breathe in. And then out. Beautiful. There's something powerful about collecting together and connecting with breath. That moment of pause and breathing in and out helps slow us down a little bit. It helps us gather our thoughts, connect in. It lowers our stress levels, our cortisol levels, so that we can actually slow down and receive what is service to us and breathe out what is no longer needed. So I'm going to encourage you throughout our time together today during this powerful summit that as those things come in that are of service, breathe them in, take them in, drink richly and deeply, and then release what no longer serves. This is your time. This is your moment. You are choosing to be poured into. You are choosing to receive. And we've got to make room to receive. And part of that is releasing what no longer serves so you can fully take in what does and be uplifted, be empowered, be encouraged. So let's take a moment. And as we breathe, put one hand on your heart, one hand on your head, bringing you all in, and close your eyes. You're absolutely safe. Beautiful. Bringing all of you in, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And in this space, what is it that you need today? What is it that will encourage you, empower you, uplift you, help you be more of who you want to be and less of who you are not anymore? What is it you need to serve, support, and uplift you on your journey? Take a moment to feel in, to see, to choose who and how you want to be. And I'm going to give you a moment there. Just think for a moment, feel in, see what it is that you need and are willing to receive. Beautiful. Wonderful. Okay, let's take a breath. Come back into the room, fully present, and take a moment to write down your thought, what it is that you need and are willing to receive. Not how, but just identifying what you need. Great. And here's the beauty in that when you choose to identify what it is that you need and you're open, you're unattached to how, guess what? You get to be surprised at the wonderful and beautiful way that this need is met, that you are served, that you are empowered. You don't have to figure it all out, but you need to be willing to identify, be willing to choose what it is that you need and are willing to receive, and then be open to the wonderful, amazing way that need will be met. Beautiful. Great. So as we get ready to start our time together and to meet some of our amazing Bloom and Shine authors, I encourage you to keep that piece of paper handy. Here's an opportunity as you're being poured into to capture that information real time, to keep it top of mind. We'll give you moments where you can process, breathe, integrate, not just add it to your to-do list, but real time, start to bring it into your life, start to bring it into who you are, how you are, and who you're choosing to be. because you have choice. So how do you want to choose to be? You get to choose what to take with you. You get to choose what you breathe in, what you process, what you integrate, and you help become part of the fabric, part of the ripple effect that we are creating. One of the reasons the book is called Bloom and Shine, and there's a beautiful picture of a Gerber daisy on the front cover, and finding the best angle here. Part of the reason is that I want us to remember we have this beauty and we don't always see it. Sometimes we see the beauty in others and we can miss the beauty that we ourselves have. So I want to encourage you to remember that you are beautiful, that you are needed, and you get to shine exactly your way, your fragrance, your color, your texture, your brilliance that you bring to the world. It's a choice to shine. And underneath the flower, there's this beautiful water, and there's a drip of dew that has fallen on the pond, and it's rippling out. And that's a reminder that as we are reaching, as we are sharing, as we are shining out, we're creating a ripple effect. And what are we putting into that ripple? Whether we realize it or not, we are shining out. We are echoing out. Are we choosing to echo out what matters most to us? Are we choosing to bloom and shine? Are we standing for what matters to us? Are we making that choice? What drops are we putting into the ripple? Is it on purpose? Is it in alignment with who we are, who we're becoming, who we are choosing to be? I want you to really be conscious and mindful and choose, no matter what happens to you, how are you going to respond? How are you going to choose to ripple out? What are you choosing to add to the conversation or not? Because we are constantly sending energy out. We are constantly rippling out. Let's do mindfully and purposely. Let's add into the fabric of life those things that matter most to us. Let's consciously choose that. That's how we make the world a better place. It's one choice, one breath at a time. And part of being able to do that is allowing support in. You don't have to do it on your own. I don't know where that myth got started, that we're all on our own. We've got to just pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and figure it out. And that's just not true. The journey is so much richer, so much more powerful when we come together. We collaborate. We can support one another on the journey. We can make the difference we are called to make by coming together, and something even more powerful is created. So today, as we gather together, I want you to think about, who can you come alongside? How can others come alongside you? How can you encourage others? That person that has impacted your life, that has touched your heart, let them know. Encourage them. Lift them up. Reach out. Be willing to share the gift that they are, because we all have those moments where we struggle. We do. We all have those moments where we forget our brilliance. We get caught up. And we need someone to hold that mirror up again and remind us of our brilliance, to help us see who we truly are, to choose to look at those gifts we have and choose to share them out. And here's the other thing, that we are perfect in our imperfections. Sometimes we hold back because we want it to be just right and perfect. And we miss the connection. We miss all that we could be doing because we're back here separating ourselves, trying to get ready to someday be perfect. And guess what? None of us are perfect. We're perfect in our imperfections. The way we're made is on design and on purpose. So embrace that. Be willing to bring forward even what you see as imperfect, because it's beautiful and it's needed. And we need to know that we're humans supporting humans, that we're here doing our best, coming alongside each other. That is blooming, that is shining. And we need to remember to encourage each other on the journey. So I hope today you are richly blessed. I hope that you are poured into, that you are encouraged and uplifted. And I'm thrilled and just so moved to have you here joining us, spending this time with us. So thank you everyone for coming aboard and being part of this. I thank you to all of our amazing speakers, to all of those who are turning in and listening. And I hope that this serves you at the highest level. And I wanted to share, speaking about perfect inner imperfections, and sometimes our plans, our design, how we think things are going to be, is not always how they unfold. I don't know if anyone out there identifies that with that, but I know that's my story. And sometimes, I get a pull, I get a prompt, and I'm being asked to do something that I just don't feel ready for or equipped for. And I can be a little hesitant and I can argue. For me, I can argue with God about that. Are you sure? Is it really time? Here are other people that are way more qualified than I. Who am I to do this? I don't know if anyone identifies, but I have those conversations sometimes. And that's part of the history of this book. And so I wanted to share a little backstory before we introduce our speakers. So, as we were putting together Bloom and Shine, and I was having the seed planted, I should say, before we started putting together the seed planted and the vision of what the cover was supposed to be like, God said, it's time to bring it forward. And I need you to do this. It's time for you to do this. And it's just been a couple years since the last daily inspiration book that we did. It's a really big undertaking. Not that I don't love it, but it's a huge commitment, a huge undertaking to work with 365 different pieces of data, to weave them together, to feel in and have it come together to serve the readers and all that are called to it. It's very complicated. And I was looking at all of, and this was in 2019, I was looking at how I was planning 2020 would be. I was looking ahead. I had my own vision. I had my own plans of what I thought would happen, what I thought would unfold. And I didn't see how a daily inspiration being brought forward um, to start it in 2019 and to launch it in 2020 just felt too soon. I didn't feel like that was something I could take on. And so I kept giving alternate plans to God and saying, why don't we do it in 2021? I think that's a better year to release something like this. I have all these other things that we're doing. Little did I know what would unfold in 2020. And I wrestled and I kept getting this. Now is the time. I need you to do this. It's time to step forward. It's time to gather the authors to bring it forward. And so after the discussion and really feeling in and knowing, I said, okay, I released my how I thought it would happen and unfold. And I was willing to step into doing it and building the plan from there. And as we saw what happened in 2020 and the release of this book in December of 2020, I discovered, wow, it was perfect timing. It's exactly what was needed, and it's needed as we are springing forward in 2021 and beyond. The wisdom, the insight, the journey the authors went on, because it's a year-long project or so, sometimes it's a little bit longer, created such richness and depth in what they created real time. Many of our authors had incredible losses that actually encouraged them even more to show up. And they come from that place of deep, profound loss, and yet they're still walking beside you. Some had amazing stretching that happened, so they're right there with you, sharing that stretching, sharing that journey with you. So this book was developed, it was built in that journey, started in 2019 and went into 2020 and was launched the end of 2020 with all of that experience. Heartfelt, real, authentic journey that you will feel. You will feel the depth and the inspiration and the hope that came with that from our beautiful authors. And so any of you who may be wrestling a little bit with something that is being placed on your heart, whether for you it's God or some other pull that you're getting, I want to encourage you to lean in and perhaps stop wrestling and ask what the first step is. Lean in and say, yes, I can tell you the journey was rich. I'm so proud of the book that has brought forward. It's already touching hearts and lives, and I hope that it is yours. And that you, again, are truly blessed and touched and encouraged and empowered by our conversation today as you get to know some of our amazing authors. But I wanted to give you that backstory because I feel like there may be some of you that are feeling the weight of and the hope and the opportunity of stepping into something big. And there's part of you that's kind of excited about it. And part of you like, I don't know how to do that. I'm not sure of all the pieces. Maybe let's do that later. Here's others. And I want to encourage you, if it's on your heart, if it's been given to you to bring forward, it's yours to bring forward. And you don't have to worry about the how. You don't have to see the whole vision. You need to see that next step and take the step and trust the next step, because you were given it to bring forward for a purpose. And it's so important, especially in times like we've been facing, that we honor that and we're willing to bring it forward. So let's breathe that in. Beautiful. And I also had a couple of quotes that I was led to share. And so I just want to share a couple of those, and then we'll bring on our first amazing author. So the first one is, where there is love, there is life. And that was by Gandhi. So wouldn't it be powerful for us to create that ripple of love and bring life and love to the world? And here's another one by Les Brown. If you set goals and go after them with all the determination you can muster, your gifts will take you places that will amaze you. So I'm going to add, be willing to lean in, be willing to say yes. And then I have a third. And this is by Oprah. Happiness is there for the taking and the making. We get to be part of that. We get to make it, we get to take it, and we get to share it. So let's lean in. Let's create those ripples in the world that matter to us. Let's create that world that we want to see. We get to be part of that. We get to choose to bring that forward, to echo that forward. And those are just some of the quotes that you'll find in our book, Bloom and Shine, just to give you a taste. So it is my privilege and honor to introduce our first amazing speaker, Kimmy Avery. She is a #1 international bestselling author, an international speaker, a relationship coach for over 15 years. She has helped men and women, singles and couples, overcome relationship challenges and open their hearts to love. That she is, I love. She has a master's in counseling. She's an NLP master practitioner and trainer, podcast host, and a certified relationship coach. And she is passionate about helping us navigate relationships successfully. Please lean in, warmly welcome the powerful Kimmy Avery to the show. Welcome.
Yay!
Yay!
Wonderful to be here with you, Rebecca. Oh my gosh, how wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm thrilled to have you joining us. And I would love to start. Actually, I have an additional question from the questions that I had planned. Is it okay if I
Absolutely.
go where I'm being led? I want to ask permission.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So as we're looking at the beginning of the year and we're reflecting on the past year and bloom and shine, is there something that has touched you as you were getting ready for today about blooming and shining that has been an aha moment or something just really laid on your heart you want to share with our viewers today?
There are two things. And one is that we have to go through a winter before we birth.
Mm.
And sometimes we have to go through, like, even the fire season of last year where Santa Cruz Mountains got burned down. The soil is being refreshed.
Yes.
And I went to visit my mother's house that burned down last year. And actually, I went down there to gather chanterelle mushrooms, which I could not find because the earth was so scorched. And it reminded me that the fire seasons are natural. Life goes through cycles, and we have rebirth always, always.
Beautiful. I love that reminder because I think we can focus on the fire, we can focus on the loss,
Yeah.
and we can forget what's being planted. We can forget what beauty is going to come forth
Yeah.
when that season passes, or seasons. And I think sometimes we think a season is forever, and it's not. It's a season.
It surely feel like a long time. And I was fascinated by these redwood trees charred, which, redwood
Mhm.
trees have special bark and everything. They were charred, and there were tiny baby trees growing up all at the base. And
Mm,
that was 8 months after the fire. And so there's always rebirth in
yeah.
ways that we cannot even conceive of yet.
Oh, I love that. And to me, we even have to make room for that. Expect rebirth, and sometimes moving some of the old away to create room for that growth.
And
Yeah,
sometimes drastically.
correct.
Sometimes drastically.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
and I think that we can do it really slowly sometimes, and we're like, "Oh, I don't know if I wanna do that. Wow, God's trying to no, no." And then we get sort of, as my mother would say, you get booted out of the nest, go,
Yep.
fly, and all
Yep.
of a sudden you're like, "Ah!"
Yep.
So, yeah.
Oh, I like that. And sometimes it's that boot is what it takes to get us to move, because we can resist. So I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I wanted to talk about the book a little bit, and why, with all the different projects out there, all the different things that you could say yes to, you were led to say yes to this. And I'd love to know what that was and what some of that experience was like for you.
Well, it's a number of things. For me, when I was growing up, and especially in my 20s, when I was healing from a lot of trauma from my childhood, I relied on daily inspiration books. And every time I revisit them, I still have those books on my shelves. Every time I revisit them, I'm reminded about some nugget that really helped me make it through my day. So when this opportunity came around, I wanted to be a part of something to give wisdom to anybody who needs it. In especially during last year was rough, but being able to give back to our community in a way, and in the world, to be a resource for people. That's why I said yes, because I adore you, and I think what you do is amazing. And so being a part of that was a big piece of it. And everybody needed some light last year, and knowing that it was going to come out in the beginning of this year, when we are in that birthing stage, felt really right for me.
Hmm. Thank you for sharing, and I adore you as well. So the
You
feeling is
appreciate
mutual there,
it.
and I'm so glad that you leaned in and said yes, and brought your insights and wisdom forward. And is there a reading that you would like to share from the book, or a story, something that's on your heart for our viewers?
As I was doing my inspirations, what came up for me is that we live we can live a lot in our past, which keeps our energy sucked into the past instead of in our present moment. And sometimes we're so far in the future that we can't enjoy the present either. So as I was writing the inspirations and all those pieces, I was looking at how to clear the past. And a lot of my work is about clearing the past so that you have space and energy so you can be in your present moment and you can create. If you think of yourself as kind of a storage tank of energy, often we have 80-90% of our energy going toward focusing on things that we didn't like about our past, that was traumatic, that we regret, or we're not having good memories here, so we're focused only on positive memories in the past instead of creating. So when I work with clients, it's often about pulling that energy back so that your present moment has like 80% energy. then you can savor the zest of your life and be present to hear the inner wisdom that's coming through you to create and have the energy to act on it. That was a big part of my process, and what I really want people to get is the whole process of reading the affirmations has all kinds of nuggets. The book has all kinds of nuggets in different directions, and ultimately it's about how can I call my energy back to me so that I can radiate that out and shine.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Beautiful. It's so important to think about where we're putting our energy, where we're putting our focus, because again, that's a choice.
Yeah. Well, and people often don't realize it's a choice, and that's the thing.
Correct.
It's like it absolutely is. And when you get clear that, oh, I can stop thinking about that thing, or sometimes maybe I can't stop, but I can start focusing on something else. I can focus, and one of my favorite things to do is to focus on the flowers in my garden, watching my baby plants sprout because I'm going to have some vegetables in my garden. I focus on the minute details of their growth. And it keeps me from focusing on stuff that I didn't like last year, you know?
Yeah.
And it can be as really simple as that.
So smart. And I love that example because that's giving us something practical that we can do. It's kind of focusing in the moment, in the present, and observing instead of letting kind of that mind chatter run us about what has already happened instead of choosing what we're going to bring forward. I think that's so important. And I'd love for you to share for those who are wanting more Kimmy, they want to lean in. What's the best way for them to connect with you to go deeper?
The best way is to go to kimmyavery.com/gift. There's a gift there on how to overcome some grief and loss, because many of us have had that kind of experience last year. And well, last year and throughout our lives, but letting go of the grief and loss so you can be present. And it's called the symbolic grief ritual. And if you really want to speak with me, which I'm happy to do, I offer a relationship possibility session. And it's 30 minutes where we can chat about what's going on for you, where I happen to focus in my work on relationships. So often clearing the past is a big part of that, because otherwise you can't be present and create a great relationship. But all kinds of trauma from the past can keep us there, and the grief and loss that we've experienced can close our hearts off to receiving love. So that's a complimentary session, and it's kimmyavery.com/gift, and that's KIMIA, V as in Victor, A as in Apple, RY. So it's actually not what's on the ticker tape below. KIMIAVRY.com/gift. It's right there.
Beautiful.
I'm glad I saw that.
Thank you for spelling so we can make sure everyone goes to the right place. I appreciate that. We're just very excited to, again, have you as part of this book, part of this project. And I want to encourage everyone, connect in with Kimmy. She's amazing. And I know she's someone that will help you in the relationship space. She'll help you, including that relationship with yourself and being able to move forward. So, Kimmy, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And actually, before I let you go, I want to see if there are any quick questions that we have for Kimmy as everyone's taking a moment to process and share. Oh, it looks like we have all questions answered, so that's great. Thank you again, Kimmy, for joining us, for sharing from your heart, your wisdom, and again, for being part of this project.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you for all the good work, the amazing work that you do, Rebecca. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Great. So we are moving on to our next amazing speaker, and I was drawing some cards. So we do card decks periodically. So we have one called The Animal Legacy, And so this is wisdom and insight that animals have taught us or shared with us. And then we also have one from our expert and influencer series. We had a women's empowerment series that we had different writers share thoughts and insights. And so I did a quick drawing as Kimmy was sharing. And so I had a message I wanted to share with us as we're getting our next speaker lined up here. And it's from Michelle Calloway, who's an interactive media expert. And it says confidence stems. So I love stems because we're talking about bloom and shine. Confidence stems from knowing who you are and what you stand for and why you do what you do. So I love this. That confidence comes from that clarity at a root level. Who are we? What are we bringing forward? What do we stand for? So really great thoughts to encourage us and support us on our journey. So we remember to pause and connect in. Great. So let me introduce our next amazing guest. And I want to make sure with our tech team, because I got a couple of messages. I have our next guest as the amazing Tony Stone Bruce. So hoping that matches the lineup here. So Tony Stone Bruce. Oh, and I got a yes. So good. We're all on the same page. It's so interesting when we're doing things virtually and we're all in different places and it's live. So I'm glad we are all connected. So Tony, I'm just thrilled to have you joining us. I love your energy. I love the connection we have. And I'm excited to share a little bit about you here. So Tony Stone Bruce is a #1 international best-selling author, a motivational speaker, CEO and founder of Precious Stones for Life with the number 4. She is a show host, pastor's wife, first lady, and life coach. She knows what it's like to have your life and dreams shattered and what it means when God gives you a second chance. We can always choose to begin again and rise up and step forward. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful and dynamic Tony Bruce to the show. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's just such a privilege and an honor to be here with you, Rebecca, on the same platform with you and all these other amazing writers. So thank you for this time.
Absolutely. I'm so glad we can connect in together, have this moment together, and I get to share you with all of our viewers, which is just
Sounds
beautiful.
good.
So I'd love to start our conversation with why. Why did you lean into being part of this project and part of the summit? Why did it call to you?
Well, first of all, I had a coach, okay, and I had a coach, and he referred me to you. And being honest, that was part of my coaching program. And he said, "You must see, she's amazing."
Hmm.
And um, he said, "She's amazing. Rebecca is amazing. And I think you would do good with her." And he said, "But you have to do it immediately. And I'm going to send you the information." And, and he sent the information. That was Earl Davis. He sent the information. And I jumped right on it. I mean, instantly. I mean, it had already started, and I was like some of the later ones, the latter ones to come on. But I jumped on it, and this is my time. I've always wanted to be a writer. I've always wanted to write a book, but never know how, when, or where. And this was just perfect. The perfect time. The perfect time.
So what was it like to lean in? I know it was a short time and you honored that. You went with it, the poll, and became a #1 international best-selling author. Was it what you had hoped it would be? Was it, were there surprises? I'm just curious.
Well, Rebecca, I closed myself, and my husband was really good. He gave me the time, the space, and I prayed, and okay, God, I have to do this, and give me guidance. And I closed myself in, and, each day as I was writing, and it wasn't even each day, each hour, because I was really trying to get my time in. And as I was writing, I found within me some of my experiences coming forth that I wanted to share. And I knew that this was my time. And there's a song by Diana Ross that I took this as my theme song. It's my turn. It's my
Mm.
turn. And so my turn began with this book. This is my very first book, and it's with some amazing, amazing authors. And this is my turn. It's my turn.
Mm.
It's my time.
Mm. Thank you so much for leaning in, for saying yes, for embracing
Yeah.
this is your time, saying
Yeah.
yes,
It's my time.
and yeah, and walking that and living it and leaning in so fully and wholeheartedly and sharing so deeply. And I'm curious,
Mhm.
if there's a inspiration from the book that touched your heart that you wanting to share, or if there's something as you're thinking about the book that is on your heart to share.
Okay. Well, one of the things, first of all, not knowing all the writers and not reading any of their material or seeing them. So as I started from the very beginning of the book, and as I started reading, I was getting into each of the writers, feeling their experiences, getting their wisdom, feeling their past, seeing their journey that they were on. And I was embracing that myself. And I shared that with so many other people. You must get this book, Bloom and Shine, not just because I'm one of the writers, but what you're looking for, what you need. This is a coaching lesson before you may get a life coach. This will help you. And I just enjoyed everything. I enjoyed the quotes. I enjoyed different people's, different authors, their passage, whether it was dealing with happiness, and one of the later ones that touched me was looking forward. Looking forward, something you must do. You have to look for, and that's not my writing, but it was someone else's writing. And a book of this nature, we all come together, and it makes a difference in our lives. But if you want to say something particularly about myself, one of the things about myself that um, that I appreciate about myself, and one of the things that I had to learn and that I had to grasp and just make this move was change. And so many times people are afraid of change, but change only means doing something different. And many times there's fear because there's change. And so I just want to only read just a little bit. This is one day in March. This was on March the 5th. The 5th. And we're here to celebrate change. Don't be afraid of change. Change can be exciting. Sometimes there's a need for change. It's a new beginning. When you make a change, that's a new beginning. That's a new start. That's a new time of your life that you can embrace. And so, I believe Kimmy was talking about winter and the seeds, and we appreciate all that she just finished saying. But winter comes with snow and ice, cold temperatures, dreary skies, and hurling winds. A battle has taken place with nature, and it is scheduled for a change and a new beginning. Seeds lay still, waiting for their time. Trees are bare, waiting for their time to bloom. A fragrance of change, hence spring is in the air. Reality embraces change positively and steadily. Nature has no fear. It celebrates each day and a new tomorrow. So why are we fearful and afraid of change? Change only means doing something different. And we must train and discipline our minds to evaluate what we think rather than concentrate on what we can't or shouldn't do. We can choose, and it's all about choice. We can choose to continually recognize that change will take place. Frequently, there is a need for change and growth. And sometimes we don't even realize that, Rebecca, but there is a need for change and growth. Growth requires courage. Courage. Change will come about in life, and we can't avoid it. Instead of resisting change, which will make our lives more difficult, we can choose to acknowledge it and, in fact, embrace it. So, fear of change keeps you from being true to yourself. And there's a little bit more. So, why not be true to you? Be true to yourself. Find out
Yeah.
who you are, you know? And the way we can find out, Rebecca, is dealing with change. You know, I had to make a
Exactly.
change, Rebecca. You know that? I had to make a change. When I left New York, I was 26 years old. I left New York with $40 in my pocket. My daughter, that was 6 at the time, and my clothes. Leaving New York, excuse me, coming to Florida, where I've never ever been before, to my mom, coming back home to my mom, because I needed that change. Was I fearful? Yeah, I was, because I didn't know what was ahead of me. I didn't know about the unknown, but I knew that I needed a change. And it was the best thing, listeners, that I could have ever done. It's made an impact on my life. And that negative parts of my life has made me who I am. And I embraced that negative. I embraced on the things that was happening to me. I embraced that. I was willing to share, to open up myself. The especially, but even men,
Beautiful.
because when I talk, Rebecca, I talk to both the men and the women.
Well, you do, and I love how transparent you are, and how much you share your life and share your journey, and the choices, and how we
Yes.
can get up again and make a different choice. We can rise up again, and the past does not determine who we are becoming and who we are. That we can choose and we change. And I love that about you, and I love your joy, and I love your willingness to share. And I'd love for you to share how people can get more of Tony. So those who want to go deeper, want to connect in, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, I am on Facebook. You know, they
Mhm.
can get on Facebook. I'm under Tony Stone Bruce. Also have a link to Precious Stones 4, the number 4 Life, which is the name of my company.
Mhm.
And even I have a line, a business line, just for listeners and callers, and that's 321-350-7219.
Perfect.
321-350-7219. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, for joining us today, for being part of this project. So appreciate it. And
Oh,
yeah, just from my heart to yours. And I know people will be richly blessed by what you shared and what you have shared in the
thank you.
book. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Rebecca, for having me. I appreciate it. I love you dearly. You're remarkable. And I mean that from my heart. Love to you.
Love to you as well. Thank you, Tony. Beautiful. Well, I'm excited. I was, as Tony was sharing, I was struck by a couple things I wanted to highlight. For those of you that have the book or are considering it, there's a special section. Not only is it 365 daily inspirations, so you can kind of go through the calendar year, but on top of that, we have by subject. And the reason that by subject I think is so special, let's see if you can see by subject, is some days we need encouragement, we need hope, we need patience. There's certain things we need that can encourage us on our journey. And so that's how the by subject is designed. So you can flip right to that section, and I need love, I need encouragement, I need hope, I need confidence, I need courage. And you can look it up and go right to inspirations that are designed to support you on that. So I wanted you to know about that feature within the book, because I think it's so powerful. Those of you who have the book and haven't looked in the end yet, and you have that to support you on your journey, because sometimes we need a boost in a particular area, and so that is there. Again, Bloom and Shine is available on Amazon. It became a #1 international best-selling book in 4 countries: US, Canada, France, and Australia, 42 categories, and we received 4 #1s. So just amazing collection of authors, amazing support from our community as we shared it out, and I'm excited to introduce our next amazing author. His name, his name is Lee Bursey. He is a #1 international best-selling author, 3-term municipal politician in Brockville, Ontario, Canada. He's a record producer, singer, songwriter, and recording artist, published poet, children's author, and a cable access television talk show host, actor, and he's even dabbled in professional wrestling. He's a motivational speaker, and he has overcome addictions, poverty, and being homeless. And his goal is to help all of us make positive changes, remember our community, and be that ripple that makes a positive difference in the world. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful Lee Bursey to the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah.
You're welcome. I'm
always on the
thrilled to-
go, so you'll have to appreciate the background. It's I work overnights at homeless shelters, so I'm sometimes in transit, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity to participate today, and it's really nice to see you.
Oh, it's great to see you. I'm glad you're able to join us. I know your schedule is so busy with all that you do. So thank you for taking time in transit to join us today. And I'd love for you to share why you leaned into this project, why it called to you, because I know you have so many options and choices out there, yet this one called to you.
To be honest, it wasn't something that I initially anticipated, nor something I'd been able to effectively plan or budget for, or really was part of my overall mantra or goal. I was presented with an opportunity by being a part of your speaker series. I made a video with a good colleague of mine at her office on a lunch break, and it started this blossoming relationship between myself and your company and the various incredible counterparts that you work with. And when presented this opportunity, what I liked about it was stepping outside of my comfort zone. Frankly, a lot of what I write is about housing and homelessness and poverty prevention. I write a lot of very challenging, sometimes devastating, incredibly tragic stories about failures of public policy and about some of the unfortunate realities of circumstances people face. And when tasked with picking a subject and trying to come up with something that was hopeful and ambitious and optimistic and positive, I thought this would be something that I probably could benefit from myself at this moment, considering how burnout rate is high in my field. And it made me dig a little deeper into myself. And quite frankly, I'm very grateful for the experience. One of the most rewarding things I've ever been a part of. I don't know how many Canadians contributed to this book, but it's exciting to me to think that I was a part of something that not many other people get the opportunity to do. And it was definitely something on my first effort that was something I had never anticipated would turn into what it did.
Well, I'm so glad you leaned in and said yes, and it was something that served, as well as what you shared, served on a really powerful level as well. I love how you connect with people so deeply and real. You're real in what you share, and the emotions that come through in your sharing, and it's from the heart, are really powerful, and I know will stick with people. So I appreciate that, the reflections, the depth in what you shared and what you brought forward. And I'm so glad it's been such a positive, great experience for you. Is there one of the reading, or do you want to do a reading? Is there one of the inspirations that touched you in particular, or comes to your heart and mind?
Definitely. The one thing I've always tried to be is very honest. You see, I might be in commute, folks, but you always come prepared. I've always tried to be very honest, and sometimes in a very self-deprecating light, because there's been very many iterations and versions of myself that I don't particularly like as much as the one that's currently in front of you. I should add to all those wondering, my car is stopped. I'm not no hands on the highway here or anything like that. But the biggest struggle, and I really appreciate what some of our first speaker, Ms. Avery, was talking about sometimes we can be very hard on ourselves and very married to our past. And now I don't know that my past is that colorful or that, oh my, nothing like being on an international summit and your camera gives away. I don't know that my past is that colorful in respects to many of the people that I serve or many of the people that I work with or many of the people that inspire me. But it's very challenging nonetheless when I consider how far I've come and how some of those pitfalls still feel very fresh. Some of those wounds are still very ugly. And one of those was about sobriety. And I wrote a reflection in May, or for May rather, that I thought was probably the most powerful one that I had contributed to the book. So you'll have to excuse what comes across as quite sloppy as I'm in transit. But it's actually on page 158. It was for May 16th. It's called May Showers. And I'd love to share it. It says, very much a true story, might I add. May showers mimicked tears as she cried in the passenger seat as we drove home from the hospital, as her face flushed of all vibrancy and the look of worry and regret replaced the gleam in her eyes that I worshipped. A piece of me died with it. When she told me she was sick and that she'd done it to herself, I let my resentment fade and placed my hand upon her knee as she gazed sheepishly through the window at passing trees and passing cars. In May, I draw inspiration from our own sobrieties. I am grateful that my mother decided she'd had enough. I am grateful for the new journey and the struggle to become all the things I always knew were possible for us. I will always reflect on May as the month that changed our lives. What are you releasing and letting May showers wash away, clean and create space for growth? What are you choosing to plant and create room for growth in your life? I look forward to seeing all you will plant and grow as we bloom and shine together. That one sticks out to me as probably the most significant thing that I contributed to the book. I also am very partial to my reflection for February and October specifically. The October one was a bit of a rhyming sonnet about never wanting to grow up, themed with our Halloween spooky time events. And February was about losing love being just as important as finding it. I'm very excited. I'm getting married in June to the love of my life.
Congratulations. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And she actually is someone I used to make mix CDs for when I was 14. Loved her since the day I met her. So it took a long time, but here we are. And I'm very grateful for those opportunities. And sometimes life just works out. This has been a meaningful project for me because one thing that we don't do enough of is reflect in positive ways. It's easy to get down upon yourself, especially when the role I feed in the community, while I believe is generally positive, can be very emptying, very exhausting. And many times I'm sort of pouring my bucket out and not leaving much for myself. And self-care has always been a challenge. So this book gave me an opportunity during the first phase of the COVID-19 pandemic, when we were sort of isolated, and to sort of reach for a different star to capture. And I'm really grateful with how it worked out. And my life is just as hectic now, as is evidenced by the backdrop today. While everyone else has these beautiful backdrops and they're prepared, I'm prepared, but I'm also talking to you via cell phone in the midst of another busy day in my life, trying to do a lot of things, maybe too many things. But I'm very grateful that I was able to surround myself with positive people who wanted to contribute something meaningful to the world. And while these are not generally the books I grew up reading, I was more the Slaughterhouse-Five, Kurt Vonnegut type author, or Chuck Palahniuk, and some of the dark humorist and satire and most self-deprecating. It was really kind of interesting to be able to draw inspiration from the other authors and from the other people who contributed to this book, and to be able to put my name to something that no one will ever take from me, which is never thought I'd be a #1 best-selling author, even if it's as a portion of a book that's very much outside my comfort zone. It meant spreading my artistic wings, but also spreading my human understanding of myself. And I think that mindfulness is important.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lee, for sharing. I really appreciate it. Thank you for leaning in, saying yes, being willing to stretch that comfort zone with us, trusting us in that space, and contributing so deeply to what was created. And I'd love for you to share how people can connect with you, those who want to go deeper.
Sure. So unlike a lot of the other co-authors that you're hearing here today who have a wealth of lifetime of experience as professionals, I'm still very much at the budding stages of my professional speaking career. I'm 33 years old. The easiest way to find me is on social media, whether it be Instagram, LinkedIn, a very vibrant Twitter account that's full of politics and pro wrestling, and Facebook, and by email at my name, which is LEIGHBURCY, as you see there on your screen, at gmail.com. And again, apologies for my phone popping out of my hand while the transports were driving by at hyperspeed. And I appreciate everyone just giving me a moment of time and attention to participate in something so meaningful, even if I have to do so from somewhat unconventional means. This was a really great project, and I would love to hear from all of you, and feel free to befriend me and follow me and argue with me and criticize and cultivate. I'm up for it all.
Great. Thank you again for joining us, and we wish you safe travels to your next destination. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and I cannot thank you enough for taking a chance on me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye. Wonderful. Well, I hope that you are getting some great insight as we connect in and share today. And I want to encourage you to just take a breath, breathe in. And if there are thoughts, insights, something that is touching your heart, I encourage you to capture it, write it down. Really take that aha moment in, write down the information to connect in. People really appreciate the connection, that encouragement. If one of our speakers has touched your heart, let them know. They would love to know that. They're really here showing up to share with you from the heart and serve and support you to help you bloom and shine in your life. So I encourage you to reach out, get to know our amazing authors. Their contact information is also in the book. If you have a copy and you weren't able to write down their contact information fast enough, it is there as well. And I'm excited to introduce our next amazing speaker. Her name is Marlene Elizabeth. And I'm just making sure we are on the same page. We are not on the same page. So Marlene is to hopefully join us soon. So we are going to move forward to our next amazing speaker, Patrick. And hopefully Marlene will be able to join us shortly. So Patrick P. Long is amazing. I know you're going to love hearing from him. He is a #1 international best-selling author, a father and widower. He's a trained pilot. And while pursuing his lifelong dream of being a writer, he earned his living as a software engineer. So very diverse background and perspectives. His wife, Melanie, passed away from breast cancer in 2019, which led him to share their story that became a #1 international bestseller and has touched so many hearts and lives. He is active and an avid supporter of the American Cancer Society and Camp Kesem, a camp that becomes children's friend through and beyond parents' cancer. And he is an advocate for authors out there, for those who are families that are struggling and facing cancer. And really, I believe, Patrick, you stand for authenticity, realness, and really being open to let people walk beside you as you walk beside other on this rich journey that we have in life. So I'm just thrilled to welcome you, the amazing Patrick P. Long, to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. So appreciate it. It's awesome to be here. And very, very quickly, I have to give a shout out to Lay. I just think that is absolutely amazing that he just did this from his car. Commitment, like he probably felt awkward about it, but I think it's actually awesome and wonderful because it, in a way, it just demonstrates everything we're talking about here today, that he had that commitment and he did that.
And choosing to bloom and shine no matter where,
right,
and what the circumstances exactly. Yeah, I love that. Beautiful. So I'd love for you to share why did you lean in and say yes to this particular project? Why did it call to you?
As I went through so much of what I went through and just, really, I was trying to set a positive tone for our family and live. And, I wrote the book that you mentioned. And, I think one of the biggest lessons I was learning along the way is how much we don't just learn a lesson once and like, we're good. That's it for life. Like now we know it because, as humans, we get caught up in our moments, old feelings and thoughts can come back and, we can regress. There's a reason the word regress is in the English language. And I think a book like this is so important because we really need to set up an environment in our lives where every day we remind ourselves of the important lessons in life and the truth. And, we got to reinforce those things until having that positive outlook and having ways to adjust your thoughts and feelings when they start going to the dark side. It's so important. And I think when I saw a project like this come along where I'm like, oh my gosh, we can do daily inspirations that can give people that, to reset remind yourself and reinforce those good beliefs that you need to have, and keep yourself going. It's such an ideal, perfect project. I couldn't pass it up.
Mm. Well, I'm glad that you leaned in and said yes and shared so beautifully. And I see your book there. Do you mind holding up for everybody and sharing the title just so everyone can see it, or pointing to it?
It's called Ordinarily Extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. That's actually like a big poster thing that's sort of mounted.
Okay. I'm sorry. Didn't mean
I have
to.
a copy.
We'll leave it mounted.
I have a copy behind me, but I can't really bend my arm that way. But no, it's called Ordinarily Extraordinary. It is a memoir. It's the story of, kind of the final few weeks of my wife's life, but within there, a lot of backstory to share who we are and let readers get to know us and understand the context of what's happening. One quick thing I'll point out: it's not two things. It's not just a cancer book, and it's not, just sad. I mean, there are of course intense moments, but there's a lot of humor in it, and there's just a lot of just turning to the positive outlook of life and the inspiration of it. And yeah, I believe that when I wrote it, and that's the feedback I get just constantly is, so it's not just a sad book that's going to make you sit there and cry.
Beautiful. It is. It's such a powerful book, Ordinarily Extraordinary. And there's humor in it. There's a journey. I felt like when I read it that it's like I knew you. I felt like I got to walk beside you and knew Melanie, knew some of your personalities and the ups and the downs. And it was such a rich experience, and deeply appreciate that. And you're willing to be so authentic and transparent. And I saw you do that again in the how you shared the inspirations. And I was just noticing as you were sharing about the book that we lost a little bit of your audio. So I'm not sure if we can, because I don't want anyone to miss your insights and what you're sharing with us today. So I don't know if there's a way to turn it up or lean in, but it hid for a moment. And so wanted to make sure that you knew that and we can hear all that you have to say. But I appreciate where you the reminder that on the journey there were beautiful moments, there were rich moments. It's not just sad, but I did cry too. I laughed and I cried as I read and got to go on that journey with you. And I appreciate the same authenticity and desire to share and make a difference that you brought to our project with Bloom and Shine. Is there a particular inspiration that you wanted to share today, or something on the project on your heart?
Yeah, I'll share one I wrote. This one kind of jumped out at me for a couple reasons. So I'll just read it real quick. So it's choose happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Choose happiness by releasing anger and forgiving others. And the inspiration reads, the main reason to forgive others is not for the benefit of the forgiven, but rather for the benefit of the forgiver. A person can be happy and angry at the same time. If we hold grudges and foster anger, we make ourselves miserable. It is an unpleasant way to live. When you hold grudges, hurt, and pain and let anger roost in you, the person that suffers the most is you. The target of your anger is often oblivious while you walk around in an unpleasant state. Choose this for your own sake. If I was to comment real quick on that,
Sure.
You might think my comments would be about either forgiveness or anger or hate. But actually, my comment is the key word in there is the word choose and the word choose. And as I was listening to you talking your introduction and then some other things, I don't know if you realize, I didn't realize it right at first, but as you kept talking, I just realized how many times you said the word choice or the word choose. And the power of choice has become maybe the number one lesson I've learned along the way. Forgiveness is a choice. Being happy is a choice. We make choices every day. A victim's mentality is a choice, right? And again, that goes back to what I was just saying a minute ago about the reason for doing this book, because we have to reinforce and remind ourselves how to make those choices. When you do regress, I have 4 young kids. When my wife passed, we have 4 young kids. And you can imagine the levels of frustration that can come upon me every day with all the things that go on in my lives. And every time maybe I get grumpy or I get mad, like with every passing day, literally in the last year or two, I'm getting better at just learning how to quickly recognize that I'm going the wrong direction and that power of reminding yourself of things every day and making those choices. You actually it's not just, again, it's not just a lesson you learn once and you're good for life. You keep reinforcing it, you keep learning it till it starts becoming like your default behavior, and it starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost think of it like typing. Typing was really hard when I did it. I can type away at crazy intense speed and I not even think about what I'm doing. And it's the same kind of thing until it becomes automatic. But understanding and realizing you have that power of choice. Like, I didn't have a choice that my wife was going to pass away, but I absolutely had a choice of how I looked at that and what I did with it and where I went from there.
Mm-hmm.
We make choices like that every single day, more than we realize. We're constantly making choices. You can't not be making choices. Learn to make the right ones.
Mm. So beautiful. I love that. And I love how you have observed so much about choice. And that's just such a strong theme that we're having today in Blooming and Shining, that we can really choose our response, choose how we're showing up. Can't always choose those things that happen to us, but we can choose. And I love that we can learn, so it becomes more automatic and easier, and we're more aware of those choices, and we're making more of the choices that help us be more of who we want to be. Oh, I think that's brilliant. I'd love for you to share your contact information for those who want more, Patrick. They want to go in deeper. How can they do that? What's the best way?
Best way is, I'm on multiple different social media sites, but I have my own website, my own author website, and that's patrickplong.com. So PATRICK, and then do not forget the P in the middle, patrickplong.com. If you go to patricklong.com, I don't know who that is. It's not me.
Fair enough.
patrickplong.com. There's all the little links to also connect with me on social media. My email address is on there, so you can get a hold of me in multiple different ways from there. But that's the best place to go.
Wonderful.
You can also sign up for alerts. I have like a newsletter alert thing that you can sign up for.
Oh, beautiful. So there's a list they can get on to be notified. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. And thank you for being part of this powerful project.
Thank you, Rebecca. You're awesome. Always love to talk to you.
Well, thank you. It's good to see you. Great. Wonderful. Well, I'm excited. We're coming to our amazing Maureen, who you got to meet in the very beginning, as she shared, and welcomed all of us and started the summit. So I'm so excited to bring our amazing Maureen back on, and I wanted to share a little bit about her. So Maureen Ryan Blake is a #1 international best-selling author. She's the principal and founder of the Power of the Tribe. She's a TV show host, has a dual master's in leadership and diplomacy, a graduate of HCL Transformational Leadership. Maureen's professional career started on Wall Street, and she moved on to develop a federal $6 million grant connecting hundreds of businesses and thousands of students to enable mentoring and coaching of those students. Visionary, connector. And she helped those students find their purpose, unlock their potential. And she is passionate about leadership, particularly leading from generosity. Please lean in and warmly welcome our powerful and dynamic Maureen Ryan Blake. Welcome.
Oh, Rebecca, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm so glad to be here. Yes.
Hey, excited to have you here. And I'd love for you to share why this project, why did you say yes? And what are you hoping it does for people? This book, what do you hope the impact it has?
So when leaning in to participate in Bloom and Shine, it was the being in the collective, being with others, and then also being able to look outward and support others. And that's what the project meant to me as I first stepped in. And again, it superseded that with the collective energy. And that's such an amazing process that happens when you bring people together. And I'm all about connecting and bringing people together. So.
Absolutely. You walk that talk. I know you love to hold summits and lift up others and just make those powerful connections. That's what you do. You do that on a daily, weekly basis. So I love that about you. And I'd love for you to share either a reading from one of your inspirations or something that touched your heart that you wanted to share from the book.
Well, I'm ready. All right.
Okay.
So we're going to bring it back to January. And there is my, oh, and there my page went. So I have it in another place. So hold on there. So the whole piece, it's really funny how we're standing into having choice and choosing to what we get to do. So within that, this piece is about your calling, your purpose, your download, that place, that unique gift that you put on this earth, and only you have that gift to contribute and why you're here. So it says we are put on this earth with a purpose, something only we are meant to do. When aligned with your purpose or calling, trust the process that things will come and you will find your way. How can you lean in and trust the process more? And the only other thing I would add to that is that the journey is just so much more fun when you get to connect and align with others. And that's truly where the magic happens, in the place of being. So I'm just so grateful to be here, Rebecca, and thank you.
That power of connection and being is so important. And I am thrilled that you have leaned in, that you decided to be part of this. And as it became a international bestseller and then a #1 bestseller, and we saw that kind of ripple effect out, was there a moment that struck you or something that impacted you in that process? What was it like for you?
Well, first of all, it was fun. So, and that having joy in life is so important. But again, it was the ripple of others being in that. And of course we were coming, this was released November 20, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it was actually postponed, which is really interesting. Things happen for a reason. Things happen the way they're supposed to happen. And coming through, the complete lockdown and being, in COVID, that to be a part of a daily inspiration that's going to then bring us forward as we move into 2021, and speaking to others and allowing others to shine and bloom and to truly be inspired, loved, and supported, it became something even more important. And again, you willed this, as all the amazing things that you do.
Mm. Thank you. And I'm glad. I'm just so glad it became such a powerful, positive thing that had its own timing. Absolutely. In fact, the summit was the same thing. We tried to have the summit. And this book is so funny. This project, it has its own rhythm. We had originally planned on having the summit, as I know you know, January 15th. And I ended up having flooding in my downstairs the morning of the summit that I wasn't able to be there and lead the summit. And so we rescheduled it to today. And again, it was this opportunity to go with the flow, literally, and to really embrace our choice and what is. And the amazing support I got from all of you as speakers and the community was such a gift in those circumstances, as we're dealing still with some construction, as you can see the not real wall behind me as we continue to go through all that still needs to be repaired and put back together. But it's a constant reminder to me of growth and movement and change, and what are we rebuilding in those places. And I appreciate how you, as a dear friend as well as a colleague, have been so supportive in the highs and the lows in that, and what we're putting back together and what we're building, and always taking a moment to reflect with me on what is being created, what is being brought forward in these changing times. And we have that opportunity in all that we do. And as you're reflecting on the journey that we've had with this project and with this book, is there anything else on your heart that you want to take this moment in reflecting back, either one of another inspiration or on the journey, that you would like to share with our viewers today?
Well, and again, that being on the journey, I am very lucky that I get to be in your family, and through the TV show, through the projects we're bringing forward, which to get looking for that as that comes through, that the where life matters is not in perfection, but just being able to be you and standing in that, connecting with others, and allowing for I will say then allowing space for yourself and for others, and within that then truly we get to experience each other, and we also get to hold forgiveness and just love as others standing in that space. And there is another one of the inspirations in here. I just I don't know what month it is, but it is about, holding space, and particularly for ourselves, because that is often the place where we don't celebrate our wins and or allow space for us to just move forward as things will change and come up, right? So I'm going to leave with that just hold space for others, and especially for ourselves.
An important, beautiful reminder. Thank you, because we forget to hold space for us, for ourselves. So those who want to go deeper and connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, it's really simple. The best is that let's connect. I'm all about connecting, and so the website's The Power of the Tribe and / Meet Maureen. Get on my calendar. Let's meet. Let's talk. Let's see. Again, I'm moving forward in a few new book projects that bring people together. No surprise, right? And I'd love for you to stand in your voice and get to then move in that next step. And it's so much fun. So again, it's thepowerofthetribe.com. Meet Maureen. Let's connect.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Always my pleasure, Rebecca. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. And our next amazing guest, I believe, let me just check with my tech team. Do we have our next guest lined up? Okay. So it looks like we have all of our guests that were able to join us today, and we're going with the flow and sending love and support and positive energy to those couple of guests that weren't able to join us, that their day is flowing, and that they know that we are standing here with them, sending them love, light, and support for the flow and beauty of their day, that it will ripple out and fall into place perfectly for them as they walk and step forward. And I am just so grateful for all of you joining us today, for the opportunity to be with you in positive and a powerful space that we've carved this time out to support you. I hope that you have felt supported and uplifted and poured into, that you are feeling filled, so that as you go back out into the world, you're able to do so from a place of feeling filled up and able to bloom and shine. I encourage you, as we bring our time to a close, that you take a few minutes just for you. Pause, breathe, look back at what you wrote at the beginning of our time together, what you needed today, that you were willing to receive, that was going to serve and support you, that you were open. And hopefully some of that support has come in, or there's been a download or an insight to support you on your journey, because you are a precious gift. You're absolutely needed in this world. There is no one else just like you. And the biggest gift you can give the world is more of you. It's really choosing to bloom and shine. We would love to support you on the journey. If you want to connect in, if you have questions, I wanted you to know of a few resources. One, we have a radio show called Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. EmpoweringWomenTransformingLives.com. It's a weekly radio show, and it's broadcast out on several different networks. It is there for you to be poured into and to enjoy. You can go to EmpoweringWomen.com, and it'll take you right to our radio show. Second, we have another radio show. It's a podcast show, I should say, that's also played out on several different networks called The Author's Journey. And you can go to theauthorsjourney.com, and that'll take you to our podcast where you can get ideas and tips on how to bring your book forward and what some of the journeys of authors have been like. And we always have our website that you can go to, which is yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Again, that's yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. And there's all kinds of picture buttons you can click with support from our magazine to our television network, which is rhgtvnetwork.com, different Facebook groups, social media. We're really here to support you on your journey. We have upcoming anthologies and projects as well that if something like this is calling to you, please reach out. We're happy to connect and let you know some of the opportunities to see if there's a fit. If you really want to just have a deeper conversation, you can feel free to schedule a time to talk with me at meetwithrebecca.com. Again, that's meetwithrebecca.com. As you get ready to go back out into the world, I want you to remember a couple of things that we've talked about today. One is choice. You get to choose your response. You get to choose how you're showing up in the world. No matter what comes your way, you get to choose. I love that Tony, that she shared in her bio and introduction, that you get to always start again. Like every day is a new opportunity. You get to choose to rise up again. I love how Patrick has shared that reminder of choice that has just come through so much of our conversation today. The reminder to be extra kind to yourself, to hold space for yourself, to take care of you so that you can continue all the work, all the being who you're called and how you're wanting to be in the world. To do so with a mindfulness, to do so with a purposefulness, to build in practices that support you, build in something that pours into you on a daily basis, because we need you. You are an important and exquisite part of the garden of life. And we need your fragrance. We need your brilliance. We need your ripple out in the world. And heart by heart, life by life, that's how we make the world a better place. So I want to encourage you, choose to bloom and shine. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll look forward to connecting with you.